Welcome to the SCC Savor. I'm your host, Jeramie Rooney. I'm the senior pastor of Sanibel Community Church, and this is a special episode where, rather than talking about the Navigator's Bible reading plan, we have a special guest, and her name is Sam. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sam is not your real name, but we're going to call you Sam.
Love it.
And Sam is one of our church's missionary partners who is serving in Central Asia in an undisclosed location. But you're here in the States now with us.
I am.
That's great. And so we want to talk to you, as a church, we talk about our 5 currents here as a church. In other words, sort of 5 cultural characteristics that we want to cultivate. And obviously, number 1 is savor God, which is why we call this the SCC Savor. We're trying to savor God through every bite of Scripture. But the 5th current is send workers. So to be a Great Commission church, we need to be sending out workers. So we're going to kind of trace that thread a little bit with you. And I just thought, wow, we're talking to a real live missionary worker. And what a chance to ask you questions of what it's really like to be on the field. So maybe tell us this. You've been on the field for a couple of years now.
Yep.
That's right. You're back now on furlough, home assignment. What are they called these days?
Yeah, home assignment. I think they wanted to avoid it sounding like just a 6-month vacation. There's things you're doing that you're home on assignment.
So let's just start there. When you're home on assignment, here we're in Sanibel. Is it pretty much just beach every day? Like what do you do when you're back visiting the U.S.?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've connected with supporters, and there's been a lot that's happened in the last 2 years. And so I think getting time with people in person is really important, just to, as much as people are like, we won't forget you and we think about you, it's good to get that face-to-face interaction where people are like, oh, yeah, I do remember you. And, oh, it's sweet to see what the Lord has done in the last 2 years and what you've been up to, and to be able to give kind of a realistic picture of what's going on.
Because, it's 2 years, your life has changed.
Yeah.
You've changed.
Yeah.
This church has changed. It's a different place. Everything changes. So there has to be a little bit of catching up and reconnecting. Let's maybe just think about that then. When a missionary is back visiting their church, have you found in your own experience the most helpful things a church can do for a visiting missionary? And what are things that maybe are well-intended but actually might not be as helpful?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one thing that people have done for me that's been really helpful is our church built a quadplex for missionaries to stay in when they're back on home assignment.
Okay.
And so when I came back, I automatically had a place of my own that I was staying in. That's just a blessing in and of itself.
What's the quadplex? How many units? How many bedrooms?
It's 4 units.
Okay.
And then each of the units has two bedrooms.
Okay. Great.
3 bedrooms.
Okay.
I'm only one person, so I'm not using very much of mine, so I had to think about it. But yeah, they're large.
See, I would sleep in a different bedroom every night. Just because I could.
Well, there's a giant California king in one of the bedrooms. So that's the only bedroom that I know. Of other bedrooms.
Well, the California king, you can sleep in different sections of it every night.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
explore the space.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's been a huge blessing, just to have my own space. I know other coworkers have communicated who've gone on home assignment and then come back to country. A lot of them were hopping around, staying with different people. And they're there is a lot of blessing in that. You get to connect with people, but you never feel like you have your own space.
Home base.
Yeah, a home base. Things just always feel constantly up in the air.
This was, I think, one of the hardest things for me, Jennifer, and our family when we would come back from Abu Dhabi, especially in the summers, is because we sold our house to go there. It was where do we live? And that sense of not even having a base. Thankfully my in-laws let us stay in a little cottage and that helped. But even then it was just kind of weird not having a home base.
Yeah. Yep. So that's been a blessing. And then, we also have care teams specifically for each person we send out. So it's
Really?
It's a smaller group of people, and each unit in that group has a specific role. So there's like the leader, we call them advocacy teams. That's what these groups are called.
Okay. So there's a team in your sending church.
Yep.
That's an advocacy team that's assigned to you.
To me. Yep.
Right.
Yep. You build your own. So I built mine.
You built your own.
Yep.
All
and so there's a leader,
right.
And they're responsible to like organize group meetings, which are supposed to be monthly.
Okay.
And they're getting together specifically praying for me.
Okay.
There's like a communications manager. So that's the person who's most often communicating with me.
And are they also like communicating to other groups in the church about you?
Yeah. Okay. That's like the ideal.
Okay.
I don't think that I've had huge need for that so far, but like when I arrange like big supporter events, I'm going to lean heavily on the communications manager. There's like a physical needs manager. So that'd be the person that's kind of like overseeing like care packages. I can't actually get packages. There's not a mail system where I live, but like theoretically, if I could, they'd be.
But how about like, hey, Sam's coming back. She needs a car.
Yes. Things like that. Yep. Yeah. So, I think that's actually a different role. That's like the furlough manager.
The furlough manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. There's lots of different roles, lots of different people play, but that team was like huge.
See, I would want a food manager. I would want somebody to make sure when I'm back.
That falls into, I think, the physical needs category. Because that was the other thing I was going to mention. When I showed up at the Quadplex, my team had already put like some food in my fridge. There was already like coffee in the cabinet. So like I didn't have to think about like navigating a grocery store right away. It was like this basic stuff that I need when I wake up tomorrow is here.
Yeah.
And I could get my feet under myself a little bit because like honestly, Walmart is an overwhelming experience for any human.
Yes.
I'm realizing that since being back. Like, but it's especially overwhelming when you've not been in a grocery store that size in a really long time.
You're like, you go down the pet food aisle and you're like, my dogs have more than my local grocery store back in Central Asia.
It's so overwhelming. And like, I just have decided I don't think I can go to Walmart while I'm back in the US. Like I've just kind of banned it mentally. It's just too much. But then I realized like I was at Walmart, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and there's a lady in the aisle like with me, and she's like, I give up. I'm never coming here again. And so it's like, oh, well, I'm not alone. It's not unique to my experience. Like everybody kind of feels.
Did you say like, excuse me, are you a missionary?
Are you a missionary?
I bet she was. I'm sure. Had to have been.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Let me, okay. So that's actually interesting. And that's something, any SCC people listening to this, wow. Makes you kind of think we need a missionary furlough house here. Maybe someone can, think about how we could do that, but it's a really helpful thing. And a care team, love that. Let's talk about so we talk about a little bit when you're here. Yeah. What's not helpful? And, sometimes like, for instance, people are grieving and people try to be helpful and they say things and they're well-intentioned, but it's like, it just didn't help me in my grief. Are there things churches do that are well-intentioned but not helpful? And I'm sure no one in our church has done any of these. So you're safe. Just be honest.
Well, I think these kinds of questions are hard for me because I do see the good intention. So I'm able to receive it as like well-intentioned and just not, but I also want to be helpful. So I'm trying to think. I think when people ask really broad questions.
What's it like over there?
Yeah. That you don't want me to take 20 minutes to try to explain.
Right.
Like, it's like, if you want, like, great. I mean, if you ask me the right questions, I can monologue about the country that I live in. For, many hours.
Well, we found that when we would come back from overseas is people would be like, wow, what's it like in Abu Dhabi? And we'd be like, well, let me tell you. And then their eyes glazed over. I was like, oh, they actually didn't want me to tell them.
Yeah.
And that's not a criticism of them. That's just, sometimes we just say things.
Yep.
We just say, we have scripts like, how is it? Whatever. But to really ask thoughtful questions.
Yeah. And I think too, this just came to me. This is supposed to be things that are unhelpful.
Well, you can say helpful.
Okay.
Let's switch gears. What would you say are like helpful things to ask a missionary who's back?
Yeah. What would you like to know about America? Like that's happened in the last 2 years. Like,
really?
Yeah. I think, there are probably things I missed and I am trying, I'm like trying to keep up because I don't want to become super irrelevant in my like quote unquote home country.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be that person that's like, I'm sorry, like who is this celebrity? So I like still listen to Taylor Swift, and I know that she's engaged to Travis Kelce, and like, you know, I'm keeping up because also, yeah, there's like lots of reasons, but
I have no idea who either of those people are, but go ahead.
Oh,
Just kidding.
please.
I'm kind of kidding.
But I think, you know, people in America are probably paying more attention to what's going on than it is. Like, it's not easy for me to do over there. So like, if someone was just like, is there anything you want me to explain to you about like current events in America?
That's a really fascinating answer.
Yeah. And that's a personal to me like answer, I guess. I don't know that everybody would be in that spot, but that's just me. I'm, you know, and as a cultural learner, I feel like I'm coming back to America, like trying to figure out what's the situation, like where are people at, like what's the political climate like, because I'm trying to, the same thing that I'm trying to do overseas, which is like point people to Jesus, like in the midst of the cultural moment that they find themselves in. It's like, I'm coming back to America doing the same thing, but I'm 2 years behind. So like,
you're still using those missionary muscles of cultural understanding and contextualization.
Yeah.
Let's talk about over there. So been over there 2 years. Tell us some things that have surprised you about living overseas as a worker.
Yeah.
Good or bad? Yeah.
I think something that has really surprised me is how much I really love it. And that's not everyone's experience, and it doesn't have to be everyone's experience. But it has been mine. And I think I've just been so blessed by that. Like it's felt like God's specific kindness to me, that he would like lead me to work that is hard, but like that I love. And I think, you know, you met me 2 years ago for the first time. I'm like, you know, there's a lot of fear. Like, it's like I'm standing before this like giant mountain of a task, and my knees are really shaking in that moment. Right. And I think everyone at Sanibel felt that with me.
Right.
But like going into it, I think not that there haven't been hard things, but I have just felt like there is nothing else I'd rather be doing.
Give us a few of your favorite things.
Yeah, I think some of my favorite things are just like spending time with local people and feeling like you can actually be a part of something that you had no idea about before. Like just the doors that like language and culture learning open are just crazy. And the way that it kind of like expands your worldview. Like it's pretty impossible to like leave an experience like that unchanged. And I've been really grateful for the change that I've experienced, and the way that my local friends have changed me, the way that them sharing about their lives and inviting me in has changed me.
Talk about maybe a little bit about what you've been working on the last couple of years. You've been focused primarily on language learning.
Yeah.
Right. So you're learning the national language.
Yep. Yeah. So this is a really important question, because I think a lot of people, when they're like, oh, we're sending like a missionary, or there's a missionary going out. Even since being back, people who I feel like know what I'm doing pretty well still ask me like how's ministry going? Or like how, you know, is talking about.
And you're like, I'm still learning the language.
Yeah. And I think it's easy to try to like think because you're going out to do ministry that you're like doing it right away, but that's like not how it works with what we're aiming to do. Because
I mean, why do you have to learn the language so well? I mean, can't you just use Google Translate? Why don't you just learn to say like John 3:16 in that language, and then just like say it, and then like people are just going to be saved and you've done your work? I mean, what's the need for a fluency? Because, and I say that, I mean, it sounds like I'm being silly, but that is a trend in missiology today, is to argue that workers don't need to know the language of the country. They just need to know someone in that country, maybe who speaks that language, and they use translation. And so, in fact, someone would even say you can do missions work by staying here and just visiting or talking to someone over there. So it seems like, boy, you're spending a lot of time learning a language. Why is it so important?
There's so many, there's like, I feel like I could talk about this for many, many hours. So I'm going to try to be concise. Why is it so important to learn language? Well, I'll just address specifically, you said like, why not just use Google Translate?
Right.
And specifically with even the national language that I'm learning, it is available on Google Translate, but the way that Google Translate like speaks the language is not the way that people are speaking the language. So like if you look up at like often, I've like tried to put like, early on, I tried to put a text message from a friend in like Google Translate and it comes out with something insane. Like what, like my friend sent me a message and I put it in Google Translate and it said, once I kill my mother-in-law, then you can like come over. And I was like, I honestly kind of started to panic because I'd only met this person like one time. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, is there mother-in-law killing here? Like, is that
a thing?
Is that a thing? And I sent it to a coworker who's been in the country longer. And she's like, no, like not even close. Google Translate doesn't speak the way that people are speaking on the streets. So if you are using
and Google Translate, I mean, typically that's just like, hey, where's the milk, or which way do I go to get to the park? But let alone if you're going to talk about theological matters.
Right.
You told me an interesting story. I wonder if you share it again about your friend, your local friend there, who you actually have been able to talk a little bit about the Lord with.
Yeah. So I had a local roommate before I came back here for a year and a half. We lived together. And she's really wonderful. I'm really thankful for a very strong Muslim. And we've had, many different interactions around like our beliefs. But part of language learning in level 3 is like telling stories from your life. And so one of the stories I wanted to tell people was like my testimony, because I'm like not at a point where I'm ready to like go through the gospel narrative with people like from Genesis to Jesus, but I want to be sowing seeds and like planting areas of curiosity for people to revisit.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I want to share my testimony with her. And so in sharing my testimony, I like wanted to make it really clear, like when I came to understand something that changed my life, what was that something? And so I'm, trying to explain Jesus and his like atoning work on the cross. And I'm like stumbling my way through this because this is all like very complicated. I'm like asking her, like, are you tracking? There's like a lot of back and forth. But one of the things she says is like, how can Jesus be like both God and man?
Right.
And she says this, in the local language. And I'm like, I'm just like, what? I can't explain that to you right now. Like, I don't have the language.
Well, think about how hard it is to explain that in English as a native English. I'm doing a theology class right now, and we're actually working on the person and work of Christ. And we've spent several weeks just thinking through all the nuances of saying that Jesus is one person. But in his one hypostasis is the divine nature and the human nature, without confusion, there's like creeds have been written to explain this.
Yeah.
And so you're supposed to go to another country and just say the name Jesus in their language and expect that that's going to like bring a revival. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, especially when they've been very specifically indoctrinated against the concept of Jesus being God. Like that's like blasphemy.
It's blasphemy.
It's pure blasphemy.
And so in Islam, it's just like right out.
Yeah.
So national language is important. Here's another one I get sometimes. Boy, it sure is expensive to send Sam overseas to live. For the money we spend on Sam, we could have just given that same money to 30 people who are national pastors in the place you are, and they could just go out and they know the culture. They don't have to learn the language. They don't have to learn it. Why not just do that?
Once again, I could go on for hours. I don't think we fully understand as Americans the potential corrupting power of money in places money hasn't been. Because we have it, we just don't understand like what it's like when someone's like dangling that in front of you, because we're like, if you have a full stomach and someone's like, here's a cheeseburger, you're like, whatever. But if you are starving, you will do a lot of things for a cheeseburger. And I think like that is the case for like the third world country that I'm in. It's like, you just have to be aware of like the danger of holding out even what feels like a minimal amount of money to you to someone who like doesn't have it.
Right.
And I also think that we as like Americans, Westerners, whatever you want to say.
So how much does an average person per month make in the place where you are?
Yeah, like $150 a month.
Okay.
Like that's I would say the average like
It's an
salary.
average. But let's say you're at the higher end. Maybe you're like a doctor or something.
Like 300.
Wow.
Yeah.
So American comes in and says, we're gonna hey, do you know any Christians there that we could just support as workers? And some churches like, well, yeah, we got a few Christians here. Like, listen, easy, $500 a month we'll give you, and that'll support you. That person's suddenly like rich.
They're super wealthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, it is good to, we want people to be blessed, but we have no clue here about the effect that has and the temptation then to do whatever it takes to get that kind of money.
Or to maintain it once you've had it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, there's also just the issue of theological education. So that you also want to send people out who really are educated, who are grounded in the scriptures, who aren't just an enthusiastic Christian in that country, but who know what they're talking about, because they're going to be wrestling with those same objections from their Muslim friends. And they're only going to be able to talk about what they know. It's funny because, and that's one thing that kind of irks me a little bit, is here in the States, people expect if they're going to hire a pastor, they're like, he better be theologically educated. He better know what he's doing, but then for workers overseas, they're like, oh, they don't need that. They just need to love Jesus. And it's like, well, those people in that other country, they need a well-educated pastor or missionary just as much as I do.
Yeah.
So,
and I would not say there's definitely local leaders who have been like seminary trained, educated, but I think it's
are there a lot of them? A few of them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be good to know like numbers, but I will say that it's like you get all this like seminary education, you're maybe well equipped, but like if you're being sponsored and people like know you are, and it's like an unreasonable amount of money, it just cancels out everything. Like, you just like lose credit. So you can lose credit so quickly because what a local person sees is you've been bought off. Like you're being paid to do what you do.
That's why you're teaching these things.
That's why you're teaching these things.
Right.
So like,
wow. I
feel like my desire being overseas has been more and more to like strip myself of like the Western kind of wealth, that I just come with. And I'm not trying to be. It's just like, it just, sticks to you. It just is. But like my instinct is like, I need to like rid myself of this and like my heart and my mind.
It doesn't cloud the relationship.
And I think we want local people to have that same kind of feel. Like we don't want to do something that accidentally elevates them or puts them in this new category that makes them now unrelatable to the majority of people they're trying to reach.
Yeah. So in other words, all that to say, the implications and ramifications of wealth and supporting workers is far more complex than we can understand. And most Americans I know, and Christians, I mean, again, well-intentioned. It's like we all have good intentions, but we only know what we know.
Yep. And
so to see that on that end. Let me ask you this. What's been maybe some of the harder things of living abroad and doing this work? What is it? Where have the challenge and the pain points been?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. One has been, like I said, a surprisingly pleasant thing for me has been how much I love doing what I'm doing. And a hard thing has been that not everyone like on our team like loves it in the same way. And I'm like, just kind of like living my best life. And, people are in a different season, and to walk alongside them, I think has been very, growing and challenging in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's been one thing. Another thing is just like, man, people are just really physically suffering around me all the time, especially like my relationships are with women. And one time one of my pastors said in his sermon, like, sin like rolls downhill and like picks up momentum and crushes the most vulnerable in society. And I think like sin unleashed, yes, like who suffers the most in the country that I'm in? Women and children.
Yes.
Like they're just squished. They're like, whose foot are they not under? Like literally, like just the amount of like physical abuse that they take, the amount of, malnourishment, like just very basic needs in their lives that aren't being met. And this isn't just like a rare exception, but it's like every woman that I know.
Yeah.
And so I like a lot of my days, even in language learning, as I'm asking people about their lives, I'm just sitting in like hours of people telling me their life stories in which there's like a lot of abuse and a lot of like trauma. And so like as a person who's like really sensitive to human suffering, like that can be really overwhelming sometimes. And, to not have the ability to like do anything about it either. That's definitely a hard thing.
Right. Yeah, it's real, and it's both the joy and the burden of learning another culture is that you see the whole thing, both what's beautiful about it, but also what sin manifests itself in every culture. And in so many cultures around the world, they're suffering. And then, like you said, it's those who are weakest. And in most societies, that is women and children.
Yeah.
I mean, typically men, by their just physical strength and social status, we sometimes talk about toxic masculinity in our country, and it can be a real thing. But like that kind of machismo in a lot of those cultures is like to another level we don't know. Yeah. As far as your team dynamics, I thought that was interesting. You said that, just going back to comments, because isn't it interesting how that's always the case? Being with a team of people, even who are on the same mission, whether it's a church or a staff or a missions team, people are also unique, and it creates just unique opportunities and challenges for working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I moved overseas, I was memorizing Psalm 16, and I think that was really helpful because it says, like, as for the saints in the land, they are the excellent ones in whom is all my delight. And that was something I just kept repeating to myself over and over. It was like, these people are here for me to delight in. Like,
yes. In
the, like, really hard season that they're in, like, they are here for me to delight in. Like, they're God's gift to me in this season. And I hope, that's how they see me too. But, I think we all work to see one another that way. And I think that helps a lot with like team dynamics and things that are challenging. So, give us a few things that as we think about Sam in Central Asia, we can be praying about for you. Lord willing, you'll be heading back this summer. Maybe. We don't know when. Timing ? What's whenever timing? You go back. Whenever you go back, yeah. What can we be praying about or praying about while you're here? What do you need? Yeah, great question. I'm getting married. So that's a big dun, 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 dun. That's awesome. Been a huge blessing, huge surprise, and really exciting stuff with that. And also assuming your fiance is heading overseas with you. Yep. Pursued me because I'm doing what I'm doing, kind of a thing. So awesome. Yeah. So that's a big like prayer point. Another thing, this is like really a really new development. So I haven't even like talked about this yet, but okay. That Trump is like cracking down on non-immigrant foreign visas. Yes. Okay. Well, countries are kind of responding in a backlash kind of way. Yeah. And so my country is currently like thinking through how they're going to respond. But I've heard from some coworkers who were trying to get because I've been on a student visa so far. Because you've been doing language. Because I've been doing language learning. So I'm a full-time student, and they just might not be as flexible as they have been with their requirements. And so we're kind of waiting to see what that's going to look like. So just I think a prayer request would be that like so far the country has been like pretty easy to get a visa to, and I would really love it if it stays that way. But yeah, you know, it's all in his hands and his timing. But
yes,
that's something you can be praying for. And then I think, yeah, number 3, like there has been like the most change maybe in my life in the last month than I've had maybe in my, did I already say my whole life? I don't even know where I am in the world right now. It's really, I keep laughing because I feel like I'm wrestling the most with like identity and like things with the Lord that I have in a long time. And I like moved overseas 2 years ago, but it's like something about him bringing me like back to America and thinking about like having to be here for a season that's really got me shaken. And so I think like prayers for my identity to be like rooted in the Lord, and for me to allow the things being shaken to like be shaken in a way that leads me to like plant my feet more strongly on what I should be planting them on.
That would be an interesting episode, just to talk through what it means for your identity to go live overseas in another place, adopting their culture, because who you are and how you see yourself will be forever changed.
Yeah.
And in some ways, you know, you give up a lot to go serve the Lord in the way you're serving him. But we don't often, you know, we think about, oh, you're giving up, you know, high-speed internet and stuff like that. But it's like, no, I'm giving up my whole sense of who I am, which is for all of us rooted in culture, location, language, relationships.
Yeah. Giving up and also gaining. I think the hard
changing.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah. Like one of my local friends, I was talking to her about like the possibility of getting married. And I'm like, I won't feel like I'm married until I've come back here and had a wedding here. Because now like getting married for me means that we have these like drums and we have these horns and like, you know, the things that make a wedding. Like, I'm like, I'm not like, how can I consider myself like fully married until we've done these things? And she's like, yeah, like, and multiple people have said to me, like, we've made you one of us.
Yeah.
And they're right. Like to some degree, like there are things that I've shed that I will never pick back up again. And there are things that I put on that I won't be able to take off. And I think there's a lot of beauty, and joy in that, and grief.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
That's great. Well, we love you. We're praying for you. We are so honored to be part of your team. And thank you for spending time coming on this. And I pray that this is encouraging to you. You know, John Piper famously said, missions exists because worship doesn't. And so because we believe in savoring God, we send workers. And so thank you for loving the world and loving the nations so that more people might savor him from every language, of which he is worthy of all of them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for listening to another special edition of the SCC Savor, and hope you'll keep tuning in as we read through the Navigator's Bible reading plan in a year and offer commentary on that. God bless. Take care.